saw something that was like somebody's
metal cover of Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it.
See if I can
I was just going to Google it myself.
Yeah, I saw it over there. I've not seen it since.
Oh, no, not really. It's just right. That's just trapped from the inner centre of the thing. Oh, it's warm in here. Oof. Yeah, what a me. Usual. Must have won a game.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Newcastle United. We'll start off with Vinny from Sky.
Sure, getting that first win last week, what was different in the performance compared to what had gone before?
We're seeing the game through. We didn't play as well, actually, first half particularly. I thought we were stronger in the second half and, you know, looked a threat when we needed to and took our chances. And then seeing the game through defensively with, you know, a better feel to the organisation going into the end of the game.
Even after that win, though, obviously off the field matters crop up again as well, and we see reports that new owners coming in could provide you with a sizable transfer budget in January. What do you know about any such thing?
Well, it's fair to say there wasn't many quotes in there, so I try and stick to the facts, and I certainly haven't heard anything from the owners at all, and certainly not about transfer budgets. As there was no quotes, I would say that as a mythical story, like there's many out there. Until it becomes a fact, then I try, if I can, and concentrate on the facts. And I certainly know no other at this stage.
Any plans for you to speak to them in the near future?
Not from my point of view. Obviously, I'm always open to speak to whoever needs to speak to. But no, I haven't heard anything from their side of things.
And again, speculation surrounding Jared Brentwaite, only just back from injury. What do you make of that? Do you have concerns that someone like Liverpool could come in for him in January?
I think we said, or I said, sorry, in the summer that, you know, any player at Everton Football Club, you know, it's a worldwide market now. It's not just about one player. You know, the way that the game's changed. Everyone, certainly in Europe, maybe the world, but certainly in Europe, you know, the transfer sort of situation has opened up across Europe. So it's not a surprise that good players are linked with other clubs. That's just the way it goes. You know, the nature of it. I said in the summer he'd be staying here. He is. So that's good.
Was you confident about him staying the entire season?
Yeah, the club has a situation which it will still be looking upon. Obviously, if the new ownership does go through, that might change things, you know, financially, or the viewpoint of where the club is at and where it wants to go. But we don't know that yet, so we'll have to just wait and see.
On the injury front, Coleman, Patterson, are they ready to return? And Chimity and Brozier, they on course?
No, they're a bit longer, them two. Coleman's a bit longer as well. I mean, not too much longer. We'd be hopeful over this international period he gets closer. And Pato is more common sense now. He's out training all the time, but he needs a game programme after being out just around that 6-month mark. So, you know, a bit of a longer term situation. But he's making good progress and he's training regularly. And so far, so good.
You took 4 points off Newcastle last season. The 3-0 victory at Goodison Park obviously was part of that 4-game run after the defeat to Manchester United as well. But what do you expect from Newcastle this time around? Just one defeat all season at Fulham, but followed that up obviously with a very good performance against Manchester City.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good outfit. We know that. They've invested well and they're well coached by Eddie. I think they do a good job there. Someone I definitely respect in the game. And, you know, they've got some good individuals and you know, they're supplying another good season so far. We did do well in both games, I thought, for different reasons. Away, you know, ended up a sort of a basketball match at times, but we came out with a point there. And at home, I thought we delivered a very good performance. And, you know they can operate in different ways. They can play, but they often get the ball forward quickly. So you've got to be alive to that because they have pace and on the counter. And, you know, they're a good outfit. They've been put together well. But as you said, our record against them was good last season. There's certainly no given reason why we can't replicate that record, but you've got to play well, you know, and I think we've got to play well from the start to the finish. I thought we pieced it together better the second half last week against Palace, but you've got to do that for the full game.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Fraser. Production.
Sean, you talked about last week saying that it wasn't maybe the best performance, but the grit that the team showed, so the determination was largely a part of what managed to get you over the line. How much more are you going to show of that now?
Well, it was more seeing the game through, I think, that side of things, because after the first half, when we were below par, I thought, we were strong for the early part of the set. That's quite apparent with two very good goals, and we provided a good performance. It was more seeing the grit side, is seeing the game through at the end. I mean, you know, it's as much determination to do the basics, really, the shape of the team, the hard yards, as I call it, the bit that not everyone notices, but certainly your teammates do, and certainly myself and the coaching staff do, the organisation and the will and desire to make sure that we looked after ourselves and make good decisions when they were needed. And I thought we did that. So, we're trying to piece together, or re-piece together, because we showed it very strong as a group at the end of last season, that ability to operate in different ways. Sometimes you have to see a game through by shutting it down, which we haven't done as well this season until last week. Sometimes you can play open, sometimes you can affect teams with that, sometimes it's counter, sometimes it's drop back and absorb. How many different ways do you need in the Premier League? Well, usually you need lots of them. And I think we've shown very good signs in other games where we've attacked well, maybe not defended as well. And now it's about, bolting it together and doing it for 95, 97 minutes, whatever the game offers, and finding different ways of operating to make sure we look after ourselves and win games. And like I say, so I was pleased with that overall against Palace, of using them different ways of working to make sure that we did look after ourselves. Obviously, we've got to go and do that moving forwards.
And in terms of the confidence in the group, having got that first win, has everybody had a bit more of a stronger feel this week, a bit of a spring in their steps?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange thing. It's not, confidence is that funny thing that it comes and goes, it ebbs and flows. But mainly, you have to have an underbelly of confidence to be a professional footballer. But of course, it heightens it when you get a reward. The players. There's been no lack of work from the players this season, but it heightens the work when you do get a performance that can win, and you do see it through and you can win, and it reminds some of the players of how different ways to operate can win. So I think confidence, professional confidence as I call it, in what we do, the day-to-day work and what they do as a group when the whistle blows, and that's one thing. The individual confidence is obviously something that each player will adapt to, playing well. There are players who have played very well in the previous games we hadn't won, so they'll actually be confident about their own performance, but bringing that team confidence. And I think winning brings that whole team and whole collective mentality where everyone feels a bit better about life.
Thanks, Fraser. We'll go to Julia at Radio Merseyside.
Hi, Jesper Lindstrom was substituted at half-time against Palace. How has he reacted to that this week in training?
Yeah, fine. I mean, players, it can happen. He had a below par first start, but he's adapting. I've said all these players that we've brought in, none of them have played in the Premier League regularly, so they're adapting to the challenges of it. And, finding that in-game consistency, which I've spoken about endlessly, it's not just about week-to-week consistency. During a game, staying true to the cause. And if it's not your day to be, say if you're a real talented player, which he is, I think, with the ball technically, if it's not your day to be good at that, then you've got to do the team job. And if both are not operating as well, then sometimes it needs a change. So it's all part of his development and learning about what the Premier League's about. So, yeah, there's certainly no question marks other than learn, move forward, and we get ready again.
Can I just ask the difference between Jared Branthwaite had a game for the under-21s and then came back into the starting 11? Nathan Patterson has done a couple of hours with the under-21 games. What's the difference there? How long will it take Nathan Patterson to get up to that level to be in the starting 11?
Patterson was a different kind of injury. It was quite a serious injury on a tendon, which is unusual. Needed surgery on a tendon, which is equally, has to be careful on the recovery. So therefore, it needs more time. Coming back to true fitness, true sharpness, game sharpness, that's 6 months is a long time to be out. So it's a game's programme rather than one game. He hadn't done as much of the support training, so although he could play a bit quicker than Jared, he hadn't done as many hours just on the support side of things, as in the sports science support. Jared had obviously had a spell when he came back and was nearly back and then went down again. So all these things have to be calculated. And still we made a decision on Jared. He felt good, he felt right. And Pato, we know and he knows, is still just sort of searching for that true fitness and that sharpness. So there's more to it than just literally injury for injury. They're different kinds of injuries and they're treated differently. And the recovery is treated differently as well.
Dwight McNeil at the moment nominated for Premier League Player of the Month for September. He's also topping loads of the stat lists, including key passes. He's still only 24 years old.
Yeah.
Have we seen the best of him, and how much more is there to come from him?
No, I spoke to him when I first got here about what we felt of him. Obviously, I gave him his debut all them years ago, and he's never really looked back. He's had a couple of tough spells, and I appreciate before I got here he was having a bit of a quiet spell, and people were asking questions about him, but. He's affected himself, not just us affecting him. He's affected himself. He continues to mature as a player. He knows we speak to him about other things that we still think he can round himself with. Change of position was something that we've talked about a lot since I've been at the club, and when and where we could do it and the reasons for doing it. And so far, it's been productive. I still think he can operate all across that middle band of the pitch. But so far, he's done very well, and it looks like to me he's enjoying his role as well.
I appreciate there's a lot of the season to go, but being out of the bottom three after lots of questions about being in it, does it give a slight psychological boost?
It doesn't to me particularly, but I mean, it changes the feel of what's going on, and yourself, it's the noise created is very quick. Everton's had a gloomy story for a long time now, so it's an easy story. I've always said that, if we're not winning games, it becomes an easy story and everyone jumps on it very quickly because they can roll the story out quickly. And so I think it's more the feeling of everything. You come out the bottom four and it just lightens that kind of mood around the media side, the fan side, the player side even, and it gives a different feel. Now, we've got to capitalise on that, because if that does affect people, then you want that to go away, quite obviously. You want them to, that fine line between when you go on a pitch of being focused, but that freedom to go and play. And when that story changes and it softens a bit, then that gives a bit more freedom to the players to go and play. And you want them to be relaxed but focused when they play. So overall, of course, psychologically for the fans, and I think for the players deep down, it's nice to be out the bottom three. But it's a work, it's not a work done for the season. There's plenty to do. And unfortunately, we have been down that end of the table for a few years now. So it's not new ground to the players, but we certainly didn't want to be there, and we still don't. So now we're working to come away from that and get clear of that. And then, like I say, find that better days when everyone's a bit more relaxed about it and they can enjoy their football. And usually, not always, but usually you find that brings better results.
Thanks, Julia. Who's next? Will, we'll go to you.
Hi, sure. Just on Jared, there was a lot of speculation obviously over him in the future. How did he handle all of that talk over the potential exit away?
All right, I think. I don't really speak to him about it. I don't need to. He's still here. I'm not going to sit there and chatting endlessly about stories in the paper, of which 95% are not true. So there's no point to it, So he seems fine. He's, other than being injured, obviously that's been a real blow to him. But he's been fine.
In terms of your midfield, you've rotated a little bit and you've had a little bit of unavailability. Do you still feel like you're searching for your best two? Do you know your best two, or do you think there's different combinations that you will use?
No, I think there's different combinations. I think, we're searching for the right fitness levels, because obviously Ghana had to go away, unfortunately, with a family situation, missed a pocket of football, and Tim's learning about the Premier League. Duke obviously is always pretty clear that everyone knows that he can cover the hard yards of a football pitch, that's without a doubt. Jimmy coming back to true fitness. So, you're sort of piecing it together a little bit and finding the right mixture. It's not an easy task, but they're all good players. So the main thing is to get them all properly fit, Premier League fit, and they're just about getting there now, which is going to be beneficial, I think, moving forwards.
Just in terms of Nathan Patterson, he's been here nearly 3 years now and knows focus is on getting fit, but how determined is he to really nail down that right back berth? Because he has had injuries, maybe been in and out of the team. Is it his time to really nail that position down now? Well,
it's not about his time. His time could be whatever. It's about him getting fit and getting his form right to go and play. But the first thing is to get him to that fitness level. Having such a long spell off, there's certainly, it's that push and pull scenario, making sure that we push hard enough and he pushes hard enough to get to that true fitness and Premier League fitness, but obviously just being a little bit careful with the nature of his injury, as much as the medical team looking after that side of things. But I think you do it in layers, when he's there, and then we go, right, okay, and then we start looking at him pushing forwards, as you're suggesting, pushing to almost make it his zone where he's going to play and he's going to build and he's going to grow into the Premier League with Everton. That's certainly what he came here for. He's got some good players there as well, some very experienced players we know, and some good players. So it's not just let's click your fingers and it all works. There's a bit of work to be done, that's for sure. But first things first, to get him totally fit and clear-minded, because he's had a tough run at it with this injury, and it's not easy, that.
And Dele Alli was linked with a move to Serie A earlier this week. Is there any more on his future? Or?
No, I know.
Thanks, Will. We'll go to Carl at the Press Association.
Hi, Sean. Just one more on Jared. I think that there was been an underlying feeling all season that once he's back in the team, things will be okay. But just wondering, is that too much of expectation and responsibility to put on his shoulders?
Well, whether it is or isn't, people make that story. That's just the way it goes, and I think he's rounded enough to know that. But there's 10 other players out there at any given time working hard, and I thought they worked hard around him on Saturday because he's still getting back to true fitness. I don't think I know him well enough to know that he's well aware of his teammates and what the importance of the group are. I think it's just. There's a lot going on for him outside of what we do, and it's nothing to do with him, obviously, stories everywhere about him, but he seems pretty level and pretty much just enjoying playing or getting back to playing. That's for sure.
Thanks, Carl. Any further questions in the open section?
Can I just ask Jack?
Yeah.
Can I just ask? I'll say it anyway. I'll say it loud. So, Jack Dowling, your first team physical performance coach, has just completed.
He is physically performing. That's
He
for
is,
sure.
Just a touch. 26 minutes every hour for 26 hours. £100,000.
And he's in today as well.
Yeah. Can he go home early? And also, how proud are you?
No, amazing. You know what the effort he's put into raising funds, and you know, obviously we know the story behind it from his family point of view. It's been incredible. And this one again, you know, slightly more under the radar, this one, but it's been amazing. And the lads all found out this morning that he did complete it. A few of the staff done some bits with him. I think Seamus was on his bike at midnight last night, going a bit with him and just trying to help him through it. But yeah, I mean, he's an incredible character for doing what he's done. You know, in the memory of his brother. So incredible. But fantastic achievement again. That's for sure.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone. We'll move on to the
Cheers.
the newspaper section.